Hello, everyday leaders. I am so excited to be here tonight. It's Melanie Ake, and we are with Personal Growth Live with Everyday Leaders. It is, gosh, it's Tuesday. It's June 16th
16.
already. I can't believe I even got that right. Every day I come on here and say, okay, I see the time, but what day is it? Because COVID-19 has made us all so crazy. We've tried to go back into the world and be normal, and we've realized it's not normal anymore. We
No,
can't do anything like we thought we could when we took off our mask and even just try to social distance. So I've been trying all through these last 12 weeks to bring value to everybody because I get calls all the time saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing to create strategies in my life so that I can finally figure out how to deal with quarantine and how to deal with my family and how to deal with my work life balance and how to deal with not going on vacation for the summer and how to deal as an educator to teach my kids."
mhm.
So, during all this time, I've gotten connected to so many fabulous people. I've got one tonight, Anza Goodbar. Thank you for joining us tonight. I can't wait to share your story.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Melanie. I'm excited to be here.
This is amazing. We got connected because there is a virtual summit right now, a mentoring series that's happening.
Mhm.
And I can't believe that I didn't know you before this.
I
Honestly.
I know because we have so many common connections. I have watched you from afar and just didn't connect with you. I should have done that much sooner.
Well, it is about connecting.
It is.
And so there's gotta be maybe that one reason in your life that you take a step forward and you meet someone new, you
Mhm.
make that experience so real that you figure out, like, you have so much in common on your journey and that you've got to bring this person into your life.
Isn't it amazing how parallel our journeys are when we get to know other people? Sometimes we
Yeah.
feel like we're in it all alone, and then someone shares the story, and it's like, that could have been my story.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, when we talked and we started to get to know each other, I said, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe the journey that you've been on." And for people that are going to learn about you, going through the mortgage crisis in 2008 and
Yes.
then thinking about how that's relatable to 2020 and and really everything's crashing around us and we're feeling helpless and financially we're in distress. And
Yes.
and so thank you for coming on and just being vulnerable to sharing your story.
You are so welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about where you live and a little bit of your influence on, what your professional career has looked like.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, I live in the Mile High City of Denver, Colorado, and I love it here. I am the mom of four grown entrepreneurs and one budding entrepreneur granddaughter who is 7. And she's sitting in the background tonight having her own pretend interview with Zoom up. And so it's always fun to know that, everybody's always watching what you do. So, I think that's been one of the most fun parts of my career is seeing all the people who have followed me in the shadows. And then when something like COVID-19 happens, they come out and they want to know more. And you're like, where'd you come from? And they're like, we've been watching you. Because back in 2004, I started a mortgage company. And it was fabulous. It was fun. We were helping people experience home ownership, the American dream, right? And we specialized with people who had subprime credit. And that was really difficult for those people to qualify for a home loan. And so we put programs together to work with um, realtors who had clients who were always falling out of the system because they didn't meet the qualifications for a mortgage. We created credit repair programs to help people get out of debt and to be able to get their credit score up to a place where they were financeable. And everything was going great. It was so exciting. People were so grateful because they never thought they would be able to own a home. We went away to Hawaii to have our board meeting and to have some family vacation time. And we came home and everything just fell apart, just overnight, all of a sudden, lenders were closing their doors. We thought everything was fine. Loan docs had been pulled. We had, closing scheduled at the title company. And then, you're sitting down there and you get a phone call that says, yeah, we closed our doors 5 minutes ago. Funding's not coming through. The house isn't closing. And, just over the ensuing weeks, it was a commonality. It was like bam, bam, bam. So, we thought that it was just a hiccup in the marketplace and that it would autocorrect and we just needed to hang tight and keep plugging forward, keep doing what we were doing. And, it was all going to work out. Well, it didn't, it didn't for a lot of us. And the only thing I think that helped us keep a sense of humor is that everybody that we knew was in the mortgage industry and they were all sinking like we were, So we had just built 2 custom built homes and we had moved in just before our trip to Hawaii. And it became evident very quickly that we were not going to stay in those homes. And it became very evident that we were not going to keep our mortgage doors open. But as fate would have it, I had met a woman who was a virtual assistant and she kept trying to get my business. And I would tell her over and over again, that is the dumbest idea. I cannot imagine why you would think I would use somebody to work at home. I need someone in my office to greet people, to shake their hands, to get them coffee. That's not going to happen 10 miles down the road or on the other side of the world. But when I was faced with not having my business, when I looked at the job market, I was being offered $12 an hour. That wasn't going to pay for a custom home. That wasn't even going to pay for an apartment. And so I was like, maybe I should give her a call. Let me see what's going on with her. And so the first thing I said is, do you think I could do what you do? And she said, absolutely. So she took me under her wing. And I am forever grateful for her because I didn't know anything about technology. I didn't know how to build a website, none of those things. Within a week, I figured out how to build a website and hang my shingle, and she became my first client. She started outsourcing some of her work to me and letting me know where I needed to go. Well, I thought, this is great. This is fine. I'll probably be able to work in the mortgage industry and process loans from home. That made sense to me. I had 12 years of event planning experience, so I thought I could be a travel director. How exotic and fun. I can work from home and travel. This is going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who God brought me. God brought me women in business who didn't know how to take the next step, or they didn't know how to get started. They were in a similar situation. And so I started working with female entrepreneurs and helping them create business systems and processes to be able to help them grow their business or start their business in some instances. And as I continued working with them over the next decade, I began to realize that some of these women had great processes, they had great products, they had great staffs, but they couldn't grow their business. And so much of it had to do with what they believed to be true about themselves. And they, for some reason, didn't feel worthy to have success. They didn't feel worthy to charge a market rate for their services. They didn't feel worthy to even be a business owner in some cases. They didn't feel like they were a leader. And I believe that women are natural born leaders, that we lead in our family, in our home, in our church, in our community, and some of us also lead in our jobs. But when a woman comes to me and says, I'm not a leader, I can't do this, no one's going to follow me, that's another discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that I needed to get a coaching certification so I could help women with the whole scope of things, because running a business is so much more than just having systems and products and services. It's really about what you want to grow and how big you believe that you can grow. And that took me on a whole nother journey that brought me here tonight, which is so fun.
That's amazing. I think about the journey, right? The present journey that you're on and how you say virtual. And so a lot of people that are sitting here thinking, okay, I've been in the 9 to 5 job for so long. And because of COVID-19,
Right.
I am learning virtual. And
Mhm.
so they've only had this maybe for 12 weeks in their life. And so you say, okay, from 2008. So you've been doing this for 12 years, really,
Yeah.
learning this new system. And
Right.
so you're really proficient
Yes.
because you really tapped into your gifts and your strengths and you just continued to grow in that area.
Mhm.
And that's what's so neat about your story is you took something that could have been really, really detrimental, like losing your house, a beautiful custom built house that you had dreamed and worked so hard for,
Yes.
and realizing, the leadership lesson here is you tried to react the best way that you knew how because you can't control the circumstances.
No, there was nothing that was in our control except for the choices that we were making moving forward because the economy was going to continue to crash no matter what we did or said, no matter how hard we prayed. That was the reality, was a domino effect was in motion. And so many people have come to me with COVID-19 and said, "Oh, how are you reacting? Oh my gosh, this is," and I'm like, "This is real life for me. This has been real life for me for 12 years." And because of that, I've worked really hard to recession proof my business. So while I offer virtual business services and consulting and coaching, I also work with authors and help them publish books. And I also work as a ghostwriter. And I have a whole hat full of things that I can do because if one thing goes wrong in the economy that I can't control, I don't want all of my eggs in one basket again.
Mm,
And, part of the story that I didn't share tonight is when I started my business 12 years ago, I literally had $27 in my bank account. And I didn't know where more money was going to come from. But I knew I had to take an action step. I had to step out in faith and I had to give it my all because it was really sink or swim. I didn't know where else I was going to go, what else I was going to do. And within 12 months, I had 11 women working for me and I was earning six figures and they were working, just part time, but they were making more working for me than they would have in an office job in the town that we lived in. And so not only did it help me, but it helped my friends and it helped my community as well.
mm,
And, the beautiful thing is I can work anywhere in the world. I
mm.
can at the park with my granddaughter. I can work on vacation. As long as I have an outlet to internet, I can take my job anywhere. I can work from my phone. I don't even need to have an office. And this year, I'll tell you, one of the things I'm most proud of is I went totally digital. I got rid of all of my paper files. I took 3 months and diligently scanned everything in. And
Wow.
so I can virtually work anywhere and have all of my paperwork at my fingertips at any time. And the beauty of it is I can work the hours that I want to work.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that people over the last 12 weeks have really discovered working from home. They get so much more done at home than they did in the office. They don't have water cooler gossip. They don't have people coming by and just complaining and coming to get some candy and just all of those distractions. They're like, I can come in, I can get my work done, and I can be done for the day.
Mhm.
I can actually focus and on things in my life that are important. I don't have this hour and a half commute each way. This is pretty sweet.
Right.
I saw a poll that was on LinkedIn, and I don't know, it seemed like there were 240,000 respondents to it about, do you prefer to work at home? Do you prefer to work in an office, or would you like a combination? And almost hands down, it was, we would like to work at home and or have a combination. But there were less than 7,000 people who said that they would like to go back to just strictly working in their office.
Wow.
And, I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later about this online mentoring series that I helped project manage. One of the speakers talks about the future job is being a freelancer. If you want to succeed in the future, you need to prepare yourself now for what's to come.
Mhm.
Because what's going to happen in November or December when we're in the middle of flu season? Are we going to shut down again? What
Right.
kind of safety is there in the job that you currently have? is your job even going to come back after things open up this time? You know, in some cities that have opened up too quickly, they're starting to spike again. So are they going to shut down? You know, what does that mean for us moving forward? And
Exactly. And I think nobody's really thinking about that yet because everyone has been so anxious, like, "Hey, I've done this. I've traded off my time, and
yes,
I've gotten my kids through school, and I have given up everything from my office, and I've recreated things virtually,
right.
and so now I'm kinda done, you know? I'm zoomed out, I'm exhausted, I need to get back to my social environments,
Yeah.
and so people really are saying, if they can't do right? If they go back and they say, "This isn't working,"
Mm,
and we talk about this new normal, Anza,
mhm.
we don't really even know what that is yet.
We
We
don't.
really don't.
Will for a long time. You know, just even looking at schools opening up in the fall, we don't know what that's going to look like. Are moms going to be able to go back to work? Or are they still going to have to be at home to help school their child? And in what fashion is that going to be? I have heard so many different stories just here in the Denver metro area on what the different counties are looking at doing individually. So it's not even a statewide decision, it's county by county.
Right.
And th- it's just frightening to me to think of what the future of education even could look like moving forward,
Mhm.
you know. And that's a whole nother conversation.
It
But
is.
I think as moms, as parents, we need to be able to be equipped to make a living, and be able to educate our kids. Some kids have been told that they're going to have to go back and repeat the last semester because they didn't complete everything that was required.
Wow.
We can't have another semester of that going forward. When you look at the future, we're equipping those people now. We can't just put them on hold until we figure this whole virus thing out. We have to
Exactly.
take steps, you know. And as parents, we have to take the lead and do that. If the public school system can't handle that, we have to figure that out, you know, home by home,
Mhm.
if that's what it takes. So, do you go to private school? Do you homeschool? What do you do? You can't work full time and take on educating your kids. And so, building a career around your passions, your gifts, your talents, your experience, the knowledge you possess is an option that you have. And I think people don't often realize that they can take the $27 in their pocket and they can figure out what they love doing and they can create a business.
Mhm.
And within a year, they can be replacing the income that they had working in a brick and mortar 9 to 5. And they're probably going to find that they're a whole lot happier, you know, because they're doing what they love. They're working with people that they love to work with. And one of the things when I work with people is, you know, what are you passionate about? What do you love? How do you want to feel?
Mhm.
What do those things look like? Who are those people? What are those activities? What are those places? What are those things? Let's take a look at all of those. Let's see if you need to learn some new things, if you need to make some new connections, if you need some new resources. Let's put that plan together because if you really want to do it, you can do it. And sometimes just being in the situation that you were in is enough motivation to say, I don't want to go back to that because this is a glimpse of what my new normal will look like.
Exactly, it's too much pain, right? They always say it's gonna be the fear of going back to that pain or learning something new and being open to give yourself permission to learn something. I think that is what a lot of people struggle with is they're not giving themselves permission for that freedom, you
That's
know, to step into that, and I wanna talk about the mentoring series here because,
yes,
we've been involved with that, and Rosa Ponce de Leon, I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago as we were kicking off this series
yes.
of really 23 phenomenal speakers, and I'm one of them. I'm excited to say that I was included in this amazing journey to be interviewed about workplace fear and workplace empowerment,
Mhm,
and the first 2 days have been unbelievable. Unbelievable speakers, Janie Lacey
mhm,
and Dana Zarkon, and, here's the thing, there are 23 speakers, and with this membership I'm gonna put this on here because, when Rosa and I spoke, the website is stopfeelingpowerlessatwork.com, and you can go register, and
Mhm.
you can get free access, and right now, actually, you can still listen to speakers 1 and
Mhm.
speakers 2, and
Yes.
then continue every single day through July the 5th, and I get to go July the 4th and play through the 5th, about the power of connection, which is kind of my gift. You know? And so it's so exciting because Greg Storch and, David McGlennon, 2 of my wonderful friends, are included in this, but getting to be in a circle of people and to connect to them so deeply on topics that we're all so passionate about is the journey of feeling powerless at one time in your life, in your work environment, and what did you do, and how did it change you?
Mhm.
And oh my goodness, if you have any reason to think about, could you start your own business? Could
Right?
you go back into work with a new attitude and ask for a different environment, ask
Right.
for a different team, ask for the raise, ask for what you see, the vision of the company?
Mhm.
This will help you do everything that you've dreamed of doing. I mean, this is an amazing series. So I just wanna encourage people, get on there, get a journal, get a blank journal, and just start writing on every speaker. There's a Facebook group that you can connect to, and we're all communicating in there, and so you can ask questions, and there's lots of free stuff. So
Love
people are giving away. Yeah.
No, and the beauty of this group, and I'm sure everybody has gone to a telesummit or an online mentoring series, and I've been disappointed. You get a lot of fluff, but these guys are giving away their best stuff. Every time I listen to one of the videos, and I got a sneak peek since I was working behind the scenes on the project, and I just get goosebumps every time. And being in the personal development industry, I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of studying, I take a lot of classes and seminars, and there's stuff that was a brand new perspective for me. And I was like, oh wow, I never looked at it that way. And
Mhm.
it's phenomenal. I mean,
It's
everyone just brought their A
amazing.
game. And I was telling a friend a story when I was a event planner 12 years ago. Well, more than 12 years ago now. Gosh, okay, 20 years ago. I'm dating myself. I was so unhappy. I was a Christian in a non-Christian environment. I was bullied because of my faith. I was exiled because of my faith. And every Friday, I would pack up my desk and say, Lord, I can't go back. I can't do it. But I was a single mom. I didn't have another job. So Monday morning, like a puppy in trouble, I would tuck my tail between my legs, go in early, put my stuff back, and make it through another week. And it was just horrific for me. And Friday, I would take my box of stuff home again. And I was thinking, man, if I had these resources 20 years ago, I probably would have made a move much sooner than I did. But I felt like I didn't have any choices. I felt like I didn't have options that were going to be better than where I was at. And so I was like, I just need to stay and learn everything that I could. And you know what? It was a beautiful thing that I did because those were lessons that made me successful as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I learned so much, even though it was a difficult time in my life. But I think I would have worked through it better. Dana was talking today about mentors. If I had had a mentor back then, oh my gosh, I I just don't even know what I would have seen as a possibility that I couldn't see in my little pit of despair at that
Mhm.
time. You know, um,
Well, you think in corporate America, right? So we've all been there, and we talk about the corporate trust.
mhm,
And I think, both of the speakers brought that up, is how you are in environments where you're not sure who you can trust.
right.
And so finding a mentor is really difficult a lot of times when you're in those environments thinking everybody's got their claws out in the boardroom trying to look the best that they can and step over people. And so if you really just think about who's got your back and who can help you and who can be your advocate,
Mhm,
those are the kinds of people that you really wanna try to connect to and authentically,
yeah,
find that, "Hey, I'm on a journey and I'm looking for a mentor." And sometimes it's as simple as just asking, you
mm,
know, "Would you consider mentoring me?"
right.
And so you never think about that though when you're getting started in your career if you've not been told that. So you're right. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Right. And I love what you said about making that authentic connection. Because if you can be your authentic self, even in the worst of times, that is going to be the best tool that you have for moving forward. And if you continue to show up with your authenticity, eventually you're going to win that respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that eventually happened before I left. There was a huge shift, but I had to stand my ground. I had to be the unpopular one. I had to be the outsider. But eventually that all, came to blossom in my favor. And like I said, it brought lessons moving forward. But sometimes we're in the midst of that. We can't see that. We can't see the growth that's happening. We can't see the hope that is before us. And to have a mentor be able to help point that out and help show you what those next steps are. And more importantly, to hold you accountable for taking action. I think that's one of the biggest beauties that come out of that mentor-mentee relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to be somebody who's there in your corporation with you. There might be another trusted person that would make a perfect mentor for you outside of the organization that can be totally objective to the situation too.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing Dana said today, which I thought I took notes on, and I loved her cause and effect.
Yes.
Right. So instead of cause and effect is causing an effect. I
Right.
love that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that because it's really important, right? You think something's going to affect you and it's how we react to it. But can you cause the effect? Can you be the one to initiate? So it really struck me, and I was writing notes and I thought, oh, I wish I could go back and replay that. And I got to wait till the end. But I listened to it a couple of times because there was so much value packed in her conversation today. So,
It was.
so I want to encourage people to go and do this. And so, but I also want to let people know, because you are such a talented professional and you've been really in your strength zone and in your space for so many years. And now listening to your story, you told me tonight you wanted to give something away of value. And so I want to share this on the screen right now. So if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, wherever you are, I haven't posted this in the actual post, but you can go and connect to Anza and get a free strategy call.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're a woman, if you're a man, but if you're a woman, because that's really your sweet spot.
It is.
But seriously, if you're looking for someone to help you through your strategy session right now with trying to build a business, with trying to figure out what does that next step look like,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you envision it, this is the person you need to call. You really need to just take this opportunity to connect to Anza and see what that's all about, and sign up for this mentoring series, because between the two of those, oh my goodness, you could have a new business and a new venture and a new vision for your life here in the next week.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You could have a whole new life in the next 21 days. Little tiny changes make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah.
It's really amazing. And, I love sharing your story, because I think it just is encouraging and inspiring to so many people. And to think, this is the time, right? You experienced this 12 years ago and you know what it's like. And you've built these last 12 years to say, okay, it's painful and it's fearful, but you can do it. And you can trade off everything that you knew in your comfort zone and step into things that you had no idea were out there waiting for you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't even have a college education at that time. I didn't go to college until after that. And so if I could do it without having earned a degree at that point, you can do it too. And I know there are so many college educated people out there who are struggling right now. They're feeling lost, they're feeling displaced, they're feeling fearful. And they don't have to, because they have the tools and resources within themselves to be able to move forward and to be able to build a business that will create sustainable income, that will not be impacted by another shutdown or by a long-term recession, because there are still services that people need. People are still spending money. My business is so busy because of COVID-19 that I'm turning business away. I'm referring it out to other people. And I hear story after story about that same scenario with other entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
So don't believe everything you hear in the media. There are still possibilities. You just have to be able to look for them in different places.
Ugh, I love that. What a great way to end this series. I love this, Anza. I'm so glad that we met. This was one opportunity that I was so excited about. Couldn't sleep last night thinking, I get to share her story because it's so powerful and people need this right now. People need this.
They do.
So, so if you're watching, wherever you're watching, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, when you see this replay, look at this offer and connect to Anza, have a strategy call and start figuring out, are there opportunities that you're just missing? Maybe it's that you just haven't really thought into something. And so I think this is a great opportunity. I really appreciate you positioning this to be able to connect to people in a deeper way. And so if you're watching this on YouTube, I've asked you to subscribe to my YouTube channel because we're trying to build that brand on YouTube, moving away kind of from Facebook and different sources. But we just got in the Everyday Leaders gear. So the hat and the t-shirt, but I'm going to give away a drawing for one of our hats. So it says Everyday Leaders 50 and 50 Podcast Network. And then it says Change the World, because that has been the theme since the event that we had February 29th. So we have said on our hashtag post, Everyday Leaders Change the World. And because every single person that says, I am an everyday leader, and I'm going to show you how I am changing the world. And that's what I believe. If you are into leadership, if you are into growth and personal growth, you understand what being an everyday leader can do for your life. And it really can change your world, and it can change the world. So I encourage you, connect to Anza, figure out your strategy, learn something new, make a plan for these next 12 years so that you can sit back and say, I remember COVID-19. Yeah, that was really hard, but we figured it out together. So, Anza, thank you very much for being on Personal Growth Live and the Everyday Leaders program. You're a wonderful friend, and I'm so glad that we had this opportunity to connect and share your story.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, Melanie.
Thank you. Have a great night and come back and visit us, all right?
I will for sure.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.